The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets in the empty classroom, casting long shadows that swallowed the desk's whole. Alex slammed his textbook shut, the thud echoing off the walls like a gunshot in the silence, his heart pounding as if he just confessed the one secret that could unravel everything. "Mr. Harlan, I can't do this anymore. I think I'm falling for you, and it terrifies me because you're the only person who's ever really seen me." Evan Harlan froze mid-stride, his chalk-dusted fingers hovering over the blackboard where he'd been scribbling quadratic equations like they were the only truths left in the world. The clock on the wall ticked mercilessly, marking the seconds since Alex's words hung in the air, raw and irreversible, turning their safe haven of late-night study sessions into a minefield of unspoken desires. Outside, rain began to patter against the windows of Lincoln High in suburban Seattle, Washington, a relentless drizzle that mirrored the storm brewing inside Evan, who turned slowly, his blue eyes wide with a mix of shock and something deeper, something human that neither of them could name yet. Alex Rivera had always been the kid who blended into the lockers, the one with the faded band tees and sneakers that squeaked too loud on the linoleum floors of Lincoln High. At 17, he was a junior navigating the treacherous waters of AP Calculus, where numbers danced like cruel phantoms, mocking his every attempt to pin them down. But it wasn't just the math that kept him up at night. It was the weight of eyes that lingered a beat too long in the hallways, the whispers that followed him like smoke from a poorly hidden cigarette. Alex was gay, in a town where progressive meant recycling bins at the mall, and he'd learned early to bury that part of himself under layers of sarcasm and straight-A facades. Evan Harlan, his math teacher, was the opposite. A pillar of straight-laced Americana, with his pressed khakis, Seattle Mariners cap on weekends, and a wedding band that glinted like a warning under the classroom lights. At 34, Evan had settled into the rhythm of small-town teaching after a stint at a community college in Tacoma, drawn back by the promise of stability and the birth of his daughter, Lily. He taught math not because he loved equations, though he did, in the way a carpenter loves the grain of wood, but because they offered order in a life that had once spun wildly out of control. Their story didn't start with confessions or stolen glances. It started with a plea. 3 months into the semester, Alex had bombed the first midterm, his score a humiliating 42 that stared up at him from the page like an accusation. He'd slunk into Evan's office hours after school, textbook clutched like a shield, mumbling something about extra help while avoiding those steady blue eyes. "Rivera," Evan had said, leaning back in his creaky desk chair, the scent of fresh coffee wafting from his mug. "Calculus isn't a monster under the bed. It's just patterns. Let's break it down." That first session stretched to an hour, then 2. Evan didn't treat Alex like the screw-up everyone else assumed he was. The foster kid shuffled between homes since his mom's overdose when he was 12, now crashing with an aunt who worked double shifts at the diner. Instead, Evan saw the spark. The way Alex's brow furrowed when he grasped a derivative. The quick wit that slipped out in dry jokes about imaginary numbers being just like high school crushes. Totally unreal. Word spread quietly. "Harlan's got a soft spot for the queer kid," some jocks muttered in the locker room, but Evan shut it down with a glare that could frost windows. He wasn't soft. He was fair. And in Alex, he saw echoes of his own younger self. Lost, angry, piecing together a future from fragments. As autumn leaves turned the quad into a carpet of crimson and gold, their sessions evolved. The classroom door stayed cracked open for propriety, but the conversations veered off script. One evening, as Alex wrestled with integrals, he let slip a story about his latest foster placement. An uncle who drank too much and asked too many questions about girlfriends. Evan paused, eraser in hand. "Sounds heavy. When I was your age, my dad split. Left my mom with 3 kids and a stack of bills. I got into fights, skipped class. Math was my escape, believe it or not." Alex looked up, surprised. "You? Mr. Perfect." Evan chuckled, a low rumble that warmed the chilly room. "Far from it, but talking helps. Or yelling into a pillow. Whatever works." From there, the floodgates cracked. Alex shared fragments. The bullying in middle school, the first boy he'd kissed behind the bleachers at a football game. clumsy, exhilarating, ending in a black eye when they were caught. Evan listened, nodding, offering no judgment, just the occasional, "That sucks, man," or a story from his own wild college days. Hitchhiking across the Midwest with a guitar he couldn't play. It was innocent at first, a bridge across the chasm of their worlds. But innocence has a way of fraying at the edges. By mid-November, the sessions ran late, the sky outside bruising to twilight as they huddled over problem sets. Evan's wife, Sarah, a nurse at Swedish Medical, texted him reminders about dinner Lily's bedtime stories, the pot roast in the crock-pot. He'd reply with a quick, "running late," grating, guilt gnawing like a low-grade fever. One Tuesday, as sleet tapped the windows like impatient fingers, Alex arrived with shadows under his eyes deeper than usual. "Aunt Maria's talking about moving us to Spokane. Job's better there," she says. "But I don't want to leave." Evan set down his marker, leaning against the desk. "Spokane's not the end of the world. Fresh start could be good." "Not for me." Alex's voice cracked, his fingers twisting the hem of his hoodie. "Here, at least I've got this, someone who gets it." The air thickened, charged like the storm outside. Evan cleared his throat, glancing at the family photo on his desk. Sarah beaming, Lily in pigtails. "Alex, I'm flattered. Really. But I'm your teacher. And married. This is about math. Remember?" Alex nodded too quickly, cheeks flushing. "Yeah, math. Totally." But the seed was planted. In the weeks that followed, their talks deepened, skirting the edges of the personal. Evan confessed his fears about fatherhood. Lily's first steps coming too soon, his own dad a ghost in the rearview. Alex opened up about the ache of invisibility. The way coming out felt like stepping off a cliff without a parachute. It was during one such night, with the radiator humming like a distant lullaby, that Alex first noticed the way Evan's laugh lines crinkled when he explained limits, as if the man carried the weight of the world but let it slip in those moments. And Evan? He caught himself lingering on Alex's intensity, the fire in those dark eyes that reminded him of passions long dormant. Thanksgiving break loomed, a week of forced family cheer Alex dreaded. As they packed up, Evan hesitated. "Hey, if things get rough at home, my office is always open, even on break. Doors unlocked." Alex's heart stuttered. "Thanks, Mr. H. You're kinda saving my life here." Evan clapped him on the shoulder, the touch lingering a second too long. "Just doing my job, kid." But as Alex stepped into the rain-slicked parking lot, backpack slung over one shoulder, he wondered if job was the right word anymore. The line between mentor and something more blurred like wet ink on a page, and neither knew how to redraw it. The break was a blur of turkey sandwiches at Aunt Maria's, the TV droning football games while she chain-smoked on the porch. Alex texted Evan once, "Happy Turkey Day," and got back a photo of Lily smashing pie into her face, captioned, "Chaos Reigns." He stared at it for hours, tracing the curve of Evan's shadow in the background. Monday returned like a slap. School buzzed with post-holiday gossip, but Alex's world narrowed to room 204. Evan was there early, sleeves rolled up, graphing love. Parabolas that opened upward, infinite in possibility. "Missed this," Alex said, sliding into his seat. Evan's smile was easy, but his eyes held a question. "Ditto. Let's tackle those vectors." That night, the session ran until the janitor knocked, keys jingling like a warning bell. As they gathered their things, Alex blurted, "What if vectors point in directions you can't control? Like feelings?" Evan zipped his satchel, avoiding his gaze. "Then you adjust the magnitude, or find a new coordinate." It was the closest they'd come to acknowledging the pull. Alex left with his homework and a heart full of what-ifs, the rain washing his footsteps away into the night. Little did he know, across town in a cozy craftsman bungalow, Evan poured a scotch and stared at the ceiling, Sarah asleep beside him, wondering why a 17-year-old's words echoed louder than the life he'd built. Winter gripped Seattle like a jealous lover, frosting the evergreens and turning the commute into a slick gamble. Lincoln High hunkered down under gray skies, holiday lights twinkling defiantly in classroom windows. For Alex, the days blurred into a routine of frostbitten mornings and heated afternoons in Evan's room, where the space heater wheezed like an old man fighting off the cold. Their talks had become a ritual, a secret language woven between derivatives and domain restrictions. Alex arrived with coffee from the corner Starbucks, black for Evan, caramel latte for himself, earning a grateful nod that felt like currency. "You're spoiling me, Rivera," Evan would say, but he never refused. One evening, as snow flurries danced outside like confetti from a broken promise, Alex dove deeper. "Ever feel like you're living someone else's life? Like, you wake up and it's all wrong?" Evan paused, marker hovering. He thought of Sarah's gentle nagging about house payments, Lily's crayons scattered like landmines, the teaching job that paid the bills but starved the soul he'd once harbored, for art, for travel, for the wild uncertainty of youth. "Every damn day," he admitted, voice low. "But you make choices. Pivot." Alex leaned forward, elbows on the desk, the lamplight carving shadows across his sharp cheekbones. "What if the pivot breaks you?" The question hung, heavy as the snow piling on the sill. Evan set the marker down, rubbing his temples. "Then you glue the pieces. Or, let it go." That night, as Alex bundled into his coat, Evan walked him to the door. A first. The hallway was empty, echoes bouncing off lockers like ghosts. "Hey," Evan said, hand on the knob. "You're tougher than you think. Don't let the world tell you otherwise." Alex met his eyes, the blue depths pulling like a riptide. "Coming from you means something." Their fingers brushed as Alex took his backpack. Electric, accidental. Neither pulled away fast enough. Word of the tutoring had trickled out, twisted by the rumor mill. In the cafeteria, Jake Harlan, Evan's own nephew, a senior linebacker with a mean streak, cornered Alex by the vending machines. "Heard my uncle's your personal cheerleader. What's the play, Rivera? Trying to queer up the family tree." Alex's fists clenched, knuckles white. "Mind your own, Harlan." Jake laughed, shoving a shoulder into him hard enough to rattle the chips. "Stay away from him. He's straight as they come, married, kid, the works. You think you're special." The bruise bloomed purple by morning, but Alex said nothing. Not to Evan, not to anyone. Instead, he channeled it into calculus, acing the next quiz with a 98 that earned a hell yeah. From Evan, high fives exchanged over the grading rubric. Christmas loomed, a season of forced joy that Alex navigated like a minefield. Aunt Maria strung lights on their sagging porch, humming carols off-key, but her eyes were tired, the move to Spokane a specter at every meal. "Better schools there," she said, but Alex heard the subtext. Better for forgetting the past. Evan invited him over on a whim, or so he told himself. Lily's making gingerbread houses. Could use an extra pair of hands. If you're free. Alex arrived at the bungalow with a store-bought tin of cookies, nerves jangling like loose change. Sarah greeted him warmly, her auburn hair tied back, scrubs swapped for a festive sweater. "Evans told us all about his star pupil. Come in, it's freezing." The house smelled of cinnamon and pine, a Norman Rockwell painting come to life. Lily, foreign fearless, dragged him to the kitchen table, where gingerbread walls teetered under royal icing. Evan hovered, apron dusted with flour, his laugh booming as Lily smeared frosting on Alex's nose. For 2 hours it was perfect. Innocent chaos, stories swapped over hot cocoa. Sarah shared tales of ER shifts, the absurdity of holiday accidents. Alex regaled Lily with made-up math adventures, where numbers were pirates sailing the 7 seas of infinity. As evening fell, snow blanketing the yard in hush, Sarah shooed them to the living room. "Papa-daughter time," she said, winking at Evan. Lily curled in his lap, picture book open to a dragon's hoard. Alex lingered by the fireplace, flames crackling secrets. "This is nice. Real." Evan glanced up from the book, Lily's head on his shoulder. "Yeah, family's messy, but it's home." The word twisted in Alex's gut. Home. He had none, not really. "Wish I had this." Even a piece. Evan's voice softened, handing Lily off to Sarah with a kiss on her forehead. You do, kid. More than you know. Sarah retired early, Lily in tow, leaving the two by the hearth. The silence stretched, filled only by the pop of embers. Evan poured eggnog, spiked for him, virgin for Alex, and they talked. About dreams deferred. Evan's sketchbooks gathering dust in the attic, Alex's secret poetry scrawled in notebook margins. You're good, you know, Evan said, swirling his glass. With words. Ever think about college? Writing programs? Alex shrugged, warmth spreading from the drink, or the proximity. Can't afford it. And who wants a foster queer from nowhere? I do, Evan said, too quick. Their eyes locked, the firelight gilding the moment in gold. I mean, the world does. Don't sell yourself short. The clock chimed 10, a gentle eviction. Evan walked him to the door, snow crunching underfoot. Merry Christmas, Alex. You too, Mr. H. Impulse seized him. Alex hugged him, brief, fierce. Evan's arms came around, hesitant then firm, the world narrowing to wool and heartbeat. Back in his room that night, Alex replayed it, the hug a talisman against the dark. Across town, Evan lay awake, Sarah's breathing steady beside him, the echo of that embrace burning like a brand. January brought midterms, a gauntlet Alex faced with renewed fire. He and Evan holed up daily, the classroom a bunker against the slushy chaos outside. Their rhythm was seamless, explanations flowing like jazz, laughs punctuating the proofs. But undercurrents stirred. A brush of knees under the desk, a shared glance holding secrets. Then betrayal's shadow fell. Jake Harlan, nursing grudges like fine wine, cornered Evan after practice. Uncle Ev, what's with the charity case? Rivera's all over you. Folks are talking. Evan's jaw tightened. He's a student. Needs help. End of story. Jake smirked. Sure. Just watch your back. Or front. The warning festered. That night, as Alex arrived buoyant with a solved proof, Evan was distant, door firmly shut. Let's keep it professional, he said, voice clipped. Focus on the test. Alex faltered, the rejection a knife twist. Did I say something? No, just boundaries. Evan's eyes avoided his, fixed on the board. The session ended early, Alex fleeing into the dusk, tears freezing on his cheeks. What had changed? The hug? The talk? Or had Jake's poison seeped in? Days blurred into a cold war. Alex's scores dipped, his presence in the classroom mechanical. Evan graded papers alone, the silence deafening. Sarah noticed his distraction. Rough week, and he brushed it off with a kiss, guilt compounding like interest. Valentine's Day dawned pink and mocking, heart-shaped balloons bobbing in the halls. Alex skipped lunch, hiding in the library with a dog-eared copy of Whitman. Leaves of grass, pages whispering of comrades and calamus roots. Love unspoken, profound. Evan found him there, knocking softly on the corral. Rivera, we need to talk. Alex's heart leaped, then sank. About everything. Evan's voice was rough, shadowed by stubble. I overreacted, Jake. He said things. Stirred up crap that isn't there. Alex closed the book, spine cracking like bone. But is it? There. Evan exhaled, slumping into the chair opposite. God, kid. You make me remember what it's like to feel alive. But I'm straight. Married. This us. It's a line I can't cross. The words landed like blows, each one stripping Alex bare. I know. But feelings don't ask permission. No. Evan agreed, voice breaking. They don't. They sat in the hush of turning pages, the chasm between them vast yet intimate. When the bell rang, Evan stood. Session tonight. We'll figure it out. Math and the rest. Alex nodded, hope flickering like a candle in wind. But deep down, he knew. Some equations had no solution, only the ache of approximation. Spring teased Seattle with tentative blooms, cherry blossoms unfurling along the waterfront. a fragile pink against the relentless gray. But inside Lincoln High, tensions coiled like overwound springs, ready to snap. Alex threw himself into revision, flashcards his armor. But sleep evaded him, dreams tangled with Evan's voice and the ghost of that library confession. Their sessions resumed, cautious as a truce. Evan arrived with takeout, teriyaki from the strip mall, neutral ground, and they ate at separate desks, chopsticks clicking like Morse code. Derivatives of exponential functions, Evan would say, launching into lectures with forced enthusiasm. Alex nodded, scribbling notes, but his eyes traced the vein in Evan's forearm, the way his fingers flexed around the marker. The betrayal simmered beneath. Jake's whispers had spread, a virus in the veins of the school. Notes slipped into Alex's locker. Teacher's pet fag, Sarah, overhearing locker room chatter at her gym, cornered Evan one night over meatloaf. "What's going on with that boy?" people are saying. Inappropriate things. Evan's fork paused midair. "It's nothing. Kid needs guidance." Her eyes narrowed, hurt flickering. "Guidance or something else?" "Evan, Lily asks about you coming home late." "I do too." He reached for her hand, the ring cool against his skin. "I swear, Sarah, it's just tutoring." But doubt rooted, a weed in their garden. She nodded, but the warmth cooled, conversations turning to logistics. Lily's preschool, the mortgage. Love's machinery grinding on without spark. For Alex, the isolation deepened. Aunt Maria announced the move for summer's end, packing boxes like tombstones. "Spokane's got opportunities," she said, oblivious to his silence. He texted friends from old Fosters, ghosts in group chats, but replies were sparse, pity-laced. Evan noticed the fracture. One afternoon, as rain lashed the windows anew, he set aside the textbook. "Talk to me, Alex. You've been a zombie." Alex's laugh was bitter, echoing hollow. Zombie. Fitting. Undead. Unwanted. Evan leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Who said unwanted?" "Not me. Your nephew did. Half the school, probably." The words spilled damn too long. "They think I'm preying on you, like I'm some predator in a bad movie." Evan's face darkened, storm clouds gathering. "Jake's an idiot. Talking to him tonight." "Don't." Alex's plea was sharp. "Makes it worse." The silence stretched, broken only by the downpour. Evan stood, pacing like a caged wolf. "This has to stop. The rumors, the sessions, they're poisoning everything." Alex's world tilted. "So what? I fail calculus? Go to Spokane broken." "No." Evan's voice cracked, hands raking through his hair. "God, no. I just care, Alex. Too much. And it's messing with my head." The admission hung, a bridge or a noose. Alex rose, closing the distance, the air electric. Then let it. For once. Evan's breath hitched, eyes searching his 17 years of fire meeting 34 of restraint. For a heartbeat, the world held possibility, terror, the precipice. Then Evan stepped back, walls slamming up. "I can't. Go home, Alex. Please." Alex fled, the door banging like a guillotine. Outside, the rain soaked him through, mirroring the flood inside. He ran to the park by the school, collapsing on a bench, sobs wrenched from depths he didn't know existed. Evan drove home in a daze, knuckles white on the wheel. Sarah was in the kitchen, Lily coloring at her feet. "Bad day?" she asked, kissing his cheek. "Yeah." He held her longer than usual, inhaling vanilla and normalcy. But the lie festered. The climax brewed over weeks, a pressure cooker of avoidance. Alex skipped sessions, his grades a nosedive. Evan graded blindly, haunted by Alex's haunted eyes in class. Jake gloated in the halls, but even he sensed the shift, his barbs landing flat. Prom loomed, a glittering farce Alex planned to dodge. But Evan cornered him after bell, voice urgent. "One last session. For the final. Please." Alex agreed, numb. The classroom that night was tomb quiet, moonlight slicing through blinds like accusations. They worked in silence, equations blurring on the board. Halfway through, Alex snapped his pencil. Why? Why pull me back just to push away? Evan turned, chalk crumbling in his fist. Because I'm scared, damn it. Scared of what you make me feel. Like I'm not the man I thought. Alex's heart thundered. And what do I make you feel? Evan's whisper was a confession. Seen. Alive. Like the world's not just bills and bedtime stories. Tears welled in Alex's eyes, spilling over. Then why fight it? Because it's wrong. Evan's voice rose, cracking. I'm straight, Alex. Or I was. But you're under my skin. And Sarah, Lily, they're my world. The words eviscerated. Alex stood, chair scraping. Your world doesn't include me. Got it. He bolted, but Evan caught his arm, gentle, desperate. Wait, don't. The door flew open then, Jake bursting in, phone raised like a weapon. Gotcha. Knew it, uncle. Pervert. Flashbulbs in Alex's mind. Jake's smirk, Evan's horror-stricken face. Betrayal, triplefold. Jake's trap, the school's vultures, Evan's retreat. Evan shoved Jake back. Out. Now. But damage bloomed. Jake fled. Text flying. Caught the fag and uncle. Pics attached. By morning, hellfire. Principal's office. Sarah's call. Sobbing. Disbelieving. Evan? With a student. He denied, voice ash. Misunderstanding. Jake's lying. But seeds of doubt sprouted. Police questions, whispers in faculty lounge. Alex, yanked from class, faced Aunt Maria's fury. We're leaving. Now. The climax peaked that afternoon in the empty gym. Rain hammering the roof like judgment. Alex waited, hoodie sodden, for Evan, who came, disheveled, eyes red-rimmed. You ruined everything? Alex spat, fists balled. Evan flinched. I know. Jake confessed it was a setup. But the damage. Screw the damage. Alex's voice broke. You saw me. Really saw. And now. Evan closed the gap, hands on shoulders, not teacher, not mentor, but man. Now I fight. For you. For us to make it right. Their foreheads touched, breaths mingling. Innocent, profound. No kiss, no line crossed, but a tether forged in fire. Sirens wailed distant. The storm broke. But in that moment, humanity prevailed. Two souls, flawed and fierce, choosing truth over fear. Summer crept in on hesitant wings, the cherry blossoms yielding to green canopies that shaded Seattle's winding streets. Lincoln High emptied like a sigh, lockers echoing with the slam of finality. For Alex, the end was abrupt. Aunt Maria's van loaded with boxes. Spokane a 4-hour blur of highway and heartache. The scandal's fallout was swift, a tempest in a teacup town. Jake, grounded for life and facing juvenile court, recanted under pressure. Photos deleted, but screenshots lingered like scars. The principal issued a statement. Isolated misunderstanding. No wrongdoing. Evan kept his job, but the faculty lounge turned arctic, sideways glances his constant companion. Sarah stayed fiercely at first. Couples therapy in a beige office overlooking Lake Union, where they unpacked the why of Evan's distance. It's not about him. Evan confessed one session, voice raw. It's me, feeling trapped. But I love you. Us. She squeezed his hand, tears tracing mascara rivers. Then fight for it, like you did for that boy. Lily, oblivious, drew pictures of Uncle Evan and friend Alex as superheroes, capes fluttering in crayon skies. The innocence pierced, a reminder of stakes. Evan wrote letters, old school, on lined paper from his desk drawer. The first reached Alex a week into Spokane's dry heat, postmarked Seattle. Kid, boundaries blurred, but you taught me clarity. You're not broken. You're a force. Apply to colleges. Chase the poetry. And know you were seen. Alex read it in his cramped bedroom, fan whirring against the unfamiliar mugginess. Spokane High loomed, a fresh slate smeared with old ink. No Evan, no late lights, just algebra with a sub who droned like a dial tone. But the letter ignited something, a spark in the ashes. He replied, tentative. Mr. H. Spokane's flat, like bad metaphors. But I'm enrolling in creative writing. Your fault. Thanks for the push. Don't let them dim you. Correspondence bloomed, a lifeline across miles. Envelopes fat with news. Evan's sketches revived. A local gallery show in the works. Alex's first poem published in the school lit mag. Raw verses of rain and revelation. Sarah warmed to the exchange, even sending Lily's drawings. For your wall. Stick figures holding hands under rainbows. No jealousy, just a quiet understanding. Evan had wandered, but returned wiser. Summer's zenith brought reunion. Evan drove east. Lily buckled in back. Sarah's blessing a soft, bring him stories. Spokane's outskirts unfolded in golden fields, a world away from evergreens. Alex waited at a park by the river, nerves electric. When Evan's truck pulled up, dust swirling, time folded. Lily barreled out first, hugging Alex's legs. You the poet? Daddy reads your letters. Evan approached slow, hands in pockets, that familiar half-smile. Hey, Rivera. Harlan. Alex's voice steadied. The gap bridged by months of ink and ache. They walked the paths, Lily skipping ahead with a kite, tails whipping like flags of truce. Talk flowed easy, colleges, Alex eyeing UW's creative writing, art shows, Evan's first sale, a portrait of a student who changed everything, the mundane miracles of life. No grand gestures, no cinematic sweeps, just humanity. Laughter at Lily's mud pies, shared silences watching the water rush, Evan's arm around Alex's shoulders in a brotherly clap that said more than words. As dusk painted the sky lavender, they sat on a bench, Lily dozing against Evan. I almost lost it all, Evan murmured. You, them, me. Alex nodded, wind tousling his hair. But you didn't. We didn't. Evan's eyes met his, clear, unburdened. What now? Now? We live. You with your equations and easels. Me with verses and vandals. Friends. Mentors. Whatever fits. The word friends settled, warm as sun on skin. Not diminishment, but expanse. Evan pulled him into a hug, fierce and final, Lily stirring with a yawn. Deal. Evan drove back under star-pricked skies, Lily's head on his lap, the road unspooling like a solved proof. Sarah waited with pie and questions, but his answers were honest. He's good. We're good. In Spokane, Alex unpacked the last box, pinning Lily's drawing above his desk. A superhero duo, unbreakable. He opened his notebook, pen poised, and wrote. Of lines that bend but never break, of teachers who teach the heart's own math. Fall returned to Seattle, leaves a mosaic underfoot. Evan taught with renewed fire, his classes alive with stories behind the numbers. Jake, humbled by community service, even muttered an apology in the hall. Awkward, but real. Alex thrived, UW acceptance letter framed like a trophy. Visits became tradition. Thanksgivings in the bungalow, summers by the river. No romance bloomed. Evan's path straight and true, but a deeper bond. Paternal, fraternal, profoundly human. Years spun forward. Lily's graduation, Alex's MFA defense, Evan's gallery in Pioneer Square. At a reading in a Capitol Hill bookstore, Alex dedicated his chapbook to the man who graphed my chaos into clarity. Evan stood in the back, Sarah beside him, pride swelling like a full equation. As applause faded, he hugged Alex tight. Proud of you, kid. Always. Alex pulled back, eyes shining. Same, Dad, Mr. H. Laughter rippled, light as relief. In the city of rain and reinvention, they'd rewritten the story. Not of forbidden love, but of chosen family. The kind that defies labels, endures betrayals, and emerges whole. And in the quiet nights, when equations whispered and poems breathed, they knew. Some talks aren't late, they're timeless.